There's Grayson.
There's Grayson. Hello and welcome back to Adulting Done Right. If you've never been here before, welcome. If you're joining us again, hello. I'm Ginger.
I'm Kevin.
And this is Night In. In this particular series, we cook things that we've either never cooked before. If you hear little gurgles in the background, it's our son. He's right over there eating some blueberries and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich right now. But we cook things that we've sometimes never cooked before. Sometimes they're things that we've made before, but it's...
Being honest, most of the things I have never made before, she has made them before.
Just about everything is new for Kevin. Not much is new for me. Today on Night In, we are using up some of the ingredients that we did from our last Night In, which I'll link down below. It was a gluten-free mushroom ravioli. And today we are making the best gluten-free pizza you've ever had. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah, we've sampled quite a few different brands, as well as I think the best brand we found was was that specific to Trader Joe's? Mm-hmm.
It was a gluten-free pizza crust pre-made that Trader Joe's had. I've been gluten-free for, it feels like several years now. Off and on.
Off and on.
Off and on. I should be 100% gluten-free, but sometimes it gets the best of me. Anyway, moving on. We've sampled several gluten-free pizzas. I have stopped buying or ordering gluten-free pizza when I go out to restaurants just because I'm always disappointed. And it's so much more money.
If you've ever had it, I'm sure you had something similar to what I would have imagined would be like cardboard.
Yeah, it really doesn't taste very good. It's flimsy, it's not very flavorful.
I don't know, I guess that I've experienced the ones where it's just like stiff. Like the ones that I've had have been rigid, not very, not much like give in the bite to it.
It's just not what you want from a piece of pizza.
Yeah, like when I think of pizza, it's a dough that obviously when you bite into it, you can feel that dough, you know, the bread that you're biting into. This recipe has been the closest thing to that.
To actual like good quality pizza. Yes. It is the by far best gluten-free pizza dough or pizza in general that I have ever had. And we are gonna show you how to make it and do our Night In. Mm-hmm. Hi, Nugget. No. What you saying no to? So you're going to begin by filling a measuring cup with 1 cup of warm water. To that, you're going to add a tablespoon of sugar, mix that up so that the sugar dissolves, and then you're going to add 1 1/4 teaspoon of active yeast. Stir that to combine everything, and then you're going to let that sit for about 4 minutes. While that is activating, we are gonna go ahead and now get started on the dough, which is super easy. I like to use a stand mixer for this, just because you're gonna have to let it go for about 4 minutes. You can, of course, use a hand mixer, just keep that in mind. Yeah? To begin, you're gonna use a gluten-free flour blend. I use a gluten-free flour blend that I get from Walmart. It's really great. I've used it several times in many different recipes, and it always turns out great. You're gonna start by adding 1 1/4 cup of this gluten-free flour blend, that's a really fine mill, to the bowl of your stand mixer. Next, you're going to add a 1/4 cup of a coarser flour, like an oat flour or an almond meal. I actually am using oat flour. I made it myself. All you have to do is put some gluten-free rolled oats in a blender or NutriBullet. Then grind those up till you get to the desired consistency, and it works beautifully. The final dry ingredients that you're going to add are a teaspoon of salt. It can be any salt, kosher, pink, Himalayan, or regular table salt, followed by a teaspoon of baking powder. I always tend to use the whisk attachment from my stand mixer whenever I'm making this pizza dough. It just helps with the consistency. Once you've gotten all of your dry ingredients into the bowl, you're going to turn it on a slow speed and begin to pour in your yeast and water mixture. So as you can see, once you add the water and yeast mixture, the dough is still quite soupy. So what I do to fix this is I add a 1/4 cup more of flour, and I alternate between coarse and the more dense flour until I get the consistency that I'm looking for. I start by adding a 1/4 cup of the coarser flour, like the oat flour or almond meal, and then I'll continue to add, again, alternating gluten-free flour blend and the coarser flour until I get that desired consistency. The reason I have you start out with 1 1/4 cup of the gluten-free flour blend and a 1/4 cup of the coarser oat or almond meal is because each gluten-free flour blend will be different, and a 1/4 cup will have different weights depending on the particular blend of flours that they use. This way you can go based off consistency and visually what you see instead of ending up with something that's too tough or too soupy. With the particular types and blends of flour that I happen to use for this recipe this time, I ended up needing about 3/4 cup more flour. Here I went ahead and lifted the whisk out of the bowl so that I could push the dough down the sides of the bowl and also see what the consistency was looking like. In this case, you can see it's still a little bit tacky to the touch, so we needed to add a little bit more flour. Once we add that last 1/4 cup of flour, you can start to see that the dough changes consistency. It pulls away from the sides of the bowl, and this is exactly what you're looking for. Once you reach this point, you're going to go ahead and turn the speed up to about medium-high and let this go for about 4 minutes. Okay, so this is done. This has been mixing for about 4 minutes. We are done with the stand mixer. Now you're just going to take some olive oil. I pour it around the edges. It's about 2 tablespoons. And then you're going to push the dough down so that it forms. Yep, so that it all gathers, essentially forms a ball. While the dough is proofing, I'm getting ready to prep some toppings. Nag's eating some peanut butter and jelly. Dad's getting him some peanut butter and jelly. Who's that cuteness? Who's that cuteness?
Trying to put your PB&J fingers all on the camera lens.
Don't do that.
I did not know we had this, but
What?
green pepper. Here we are in the interim.
Playing with a nugget while we're waiting for the dough to be ready. So the timer's getting ready to go off, so now we're gonna show you essentially next steps.
The second act.
Alrighty, so it has been 30 minutes, and if you notice, so the dough doesn't look too much bigger because it's not, again, traditional like gluten containing flour, so it's not going to proof and rise as much because it doesn't have the elasticity that gluten provides. But this is what we want. What you're going to want to do is hold out your hands, and I'm going to drizzle your hands with olive oil.
Okay.
So for this next part, you want oiled hands. Perfect. You also want an oiled sheet, just like that. And then go ahead and boom. So this dough is also not a dough that you will roll out. All you're gonna do is press it out onto the baking sheet.
Call this the unveiling of the pizza. My magical sound effects.
That's right. All right, so the oven is preheated to 425.
Which rack?
Top one's fine.
Alright, set a timer for 10 minutes or 15?
12.
12.
After about 12 minutes, you'll pull the crust out of the oven and top it with whatever toppings you'd like. We've tried a ton of different toppings with this pizza crust. We've done barbecue chicken with pineapple, we've done supreme, we've done white pizzas. It's really whatever you'd like. Once you've got all your toppings on there, all you're going to do is throw it back in the oven at 425 for another 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how done you like your pizza. While we're waiting for our pizza to cook, Nug's getting a bath.
Rub-a-dub-dub. Nug's in the sink. And I'm starving.
Me too.
We waited to the last moment to get this started, but I also was in the zone for a little while trying to get something done.
You love your baths.
Alright, and the final unveil of the pizza. And the drum roll. Go. Oven off.
Yeah. Beautiful. Cheers. So I really enjoyed making this pizza.
Yeah.
What did you think overall of the experience of making it?
This experience was a lot more pleasant for me
Than the previous one?
than the previous one.
Dough was much easier to work with.
Correct. It didn't have, I guess the complicating part for me on the last one was putting a small enough volume into the ravioli dough to where you could actually fold it over.
Yeah, not overfilling it.
Yeah. But I naturally want to put more into it just because I typically eat more.
More is more for him.
Yeah.
This though, I'm super excited about. Shall we try it?
Yes.
It looks really good. I will say that this time our dough is not, or the crust is not as crispy as it typically is. And that's probably because we didn't cook it as long. So when you bake it that first time, if you put it closer to the bottom, which is probably also what we should have done.
Hindsight.
But hindsight, let's see. Overall, taste-wise though, this still poos on.
Tastes wonderful.
Yeah.
The dough is actually where I kind of want it to be. Sometimes it tends to come out a little bit too crispy.
This is probably most like traditional pizza dough and pizza crust.
Now, she has been refining this for quite some time. So.
Yes. So This was baking it for 12 minutes each time, right? So baking it 12 minutes the first time. And then 10 minutes the second time. Got it. That turned out really great. And the thickness, I don't know if you can see. Here we go. So it's, I don't know, it's just a good thickness. It's nice and crisp over here, but you have a nice like chew over here.
Yeah, it's crisp where you want it to be crisp at.
And then you gotta chew where you want to. There is definitely like a balance between, especially when you're making homemade pizza, I think any pizza in general really, but you don't wanna overweigh the dough to where it just like goes limp on you. But this was really good. Let us know what you guys think. I hope you guys try this. We love this recipe. It's our favorite by far. Super easy. Definitely give it a shot. I hope you enjoy this night in series. I've been enjoying it.
This one's my favorite thus far. Hopefully, hopefully the coming ones will be better.
If you guys have a suggestion of what we should make, definitely put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear. If you'd like more gluten-free recipes, let us know. I'm going to link the recipe for this. I actually have it linked back on the blog, so I'll put that up for you guys with all the tweaks that we've made and things like that. We are uploading every day in the month of September, so I hope you guys subscribe, turn on your notifications so you can see whenever we're uploading new videos.
Yeah, if you give us any comments, maybe see something for you, again, for the shared rookieism out there like myself. If it's something you don't know how to make, maybe suggest it so we can walk through the process together.
That'd be fun. So now we're gonna go ahead and enjoy and eat because we're both starving.
Yes.
Have a great day, guys. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.